see how it goes, how much we actually get participation. We are recording, so if you do not want your camera on, that is fine. But if you are willing to have it on, I do appreciate seeing some faces. That's great. So the last little bit of the presentation here, we'll actually have an offer for a 4-week program that maybe you guys would like to invest in. So we kind of figured out the chat is at the very bottom. If you do have it set to everyone, that way we can all see what everyone's chit-chatting about. That is great. Everyone should have your workbook to fill in as well. I can put the link in the chat again here if you need that. If you weren't able to print it, you can pull it up on your device and kind of fill it in as we go along with that as well. So just to get ourselves kind of grounded with everything, we want to silence your phones if you're able to. Just be open to the process that's going on with this. Have yourself ready, pen and paper in hand. But I like to start my sessions with a few breaths. So we're going to go ahead and get yourself in a comfortable position, feet on the ground, butt firmly planted. And if you want to think of a color, you can think of a color, and as we take a breath in, let that color fill your whole body, and then let it go out as you exhale. You'll never guess what color I probably will pick. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in and hold it and exhale out. Let a nice deep breath in. Let that color fill your whole body and then exhale out. One more nice deep breath in. Hold it, let that color go all the way to your fingertips, to your toes, and then exhale out. That's the 5-5-7 breath. It always gets me grounded and gets me ready to kind of move into whatever may happen, what may be open for us. So I do want to introduce myself. Most of you do know me, but for those of you who are new, I am a nurse. I am a transformational coach. I have been a nurse for 16 years on a medical oncology floor. I'm an avid hockey fan. I'm a lover of all things purple, in case you didn't notice. And then in 2018, I had some very stressful events at work. Snowmageddon happened where we got, 6 feet of snow. I was at work. It was very stressful for me. That accelerated some underlying health issues that I didn't really know I had. Had another episode at work where I was stressed out, almost passed out. Started my health journey. So realized I had Sjogren's. It is an autoimmune disorder, which causes dryness. So you might see me frequently grabbing some water. And then figured out that I have a form of dysautonomia called neurocardiogenic syncope. It's a big word for vasovagal syndrome, where you almost pass out. Through that whole discovery, decided to take ownership of my well-being, figure out what was really going on. Did do some counseling for my anxiety, started meditation, some sleep routines, 180'd my whole diet. Used to only eat 2 vegetables, and now I eat pretty much everything, the rainbow. Love carrots. If you don't notice, I am a little orange, eat a lot of carrots, so that's part of that. And then through that, explored some options for maybe relieving stress on a more permanent basis that was work related. Kind of discovered health coaching, life coaching, why we're here today. So along this journey, I kind of figured out what I wanted, what roles I want to play in moving forwards. Did have a plot twist in all this. Figured out through working with a functional doctor that I had black mold exposure, black mold in my body, black mold in my house. Went through a crazy mold remediation and the remodel that is in progress still. They started this June 12th. We'll just leave that at that. But the lessons we've learned along the way, right? So I've learned some patience, some resilience, figuring out that close enough, it's okay. Then let's not forget the struggles of all of us that are in healthcare, the nurses that are joining me today. It's been a rough year for all of us, but healthcare, it has been extra stressful. We'll just leave it that way. My why behind all this. I want people to not hit rock bottom because of health issues, about not having confidence, about having that self-doubt. I want people to be able to speak up, speak their truths, figure out what they want in their life, what they want their roles to look like in their life, and to feel confident in that, in doing those. To be 100% okay with who you are, not having doubts, and having a purposeful life and being healthy for you, whatever that looks like, and being comfortable in your own skin. I actually realized the other day, I was like, huh, this feels good. I don't know if it's partly aging, hitting the midlife. Oh, hate to admit that, but hitting that point where I'm finally okay with a lot of that stuff, or if it's partly going through the process and all the transformation. So kind of excited for what the future will bring for a lot of this going forward. So a verse to share with you. It's kind of my theme for today. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. And that comes from Psalm 139:14. So through all those trials, tribulations that I've been through the last year, I've built some resilience. I'm no longer relying on other people to get my nourishment. Yes, I'm an introvert by nature, like to stick to myself, like my house loves myself, but I've been known as the shy one for 40 years, right? Many roles that I've taken on. So looking at your workbook, and then if you guys want to put into your chat too, what roles do you have as a caregiver? What does that look like for you as a caregiver? Working in healthcare, obviously that brings in some caregiver roles there, but life in general brings you tons of responsibilities. So let me see what your roles are that you guys have, things you're trying to balance, all these jobs that you're going through, being pulled in, how many different directions, right? Move on to my next question. There we go. All right. So as you guys are putting them in there, often putting others before oneself. Yes, that's a huge one. We all do. Our caregiver roles. So we have nurse, parents. Those of you that have kids, or if you have grandkids, mother. We've got Michelle's the dental hygienist on there with working in healthcare with that as well. You're a child. You're a sibling. Fur babies, right? Fur grandparents. Those all count. And what about all these roles for the parents that have expanded, I guess, into teacher, into Geek Squad? You got to figure out all this technology for homeschooling and remote learning. Coach, you got to be creativity director, and how about the dance instructor, right? So you got to have something fun going on there. So what about these roles that you've had some success in these? Everyone put in the chat the successes that they've had with their roles that they're associated with. What are your successes? As you guys are thinking of that, we're all women here live. I did have a few men sign up as well. So on the replay, and you're watching this, men, I am sorry if I kind of generalize a little bit, but most caregivers are known to be women, right? This is kind of the culture and what we think of as caregivers. So this concept of the human giver syndrome, it comes from Emily and Amelia Nagoski's book, The Burnout. It's the secret to unlocking stress. Great book. I highly recommend that for everyone. They say the human giver syndrome, the unspoken assumption that some women, or that women, some men as well, should give everything, every moment of their lives, every drop of energy to the care of others, where self-care is considered selfish because it promotes the giver's well-being and not the care of others, right? So many women work that full-time job, and then they come home and they work their second job, right? So being a mom, being the wife, the caregiver at home as well. So that's hard on top of that. So studies show that women will spend 50% of their work in unpaid labor. That is, as I said, kind of the patriarchy of our culture, and we've maybe been blinded, a little bit from that as well. So some of you guys have put some stuff in the chat. Yeah, new nurse getting acclimated, I can't say that word, to being a floor nurse. That is a huge accomplishment. That is tough, coming in the middle of COVID. Ooh, that is hard. Pam has that recently helped her father-in-law die with dignity in hospice. That is a huge one. Being able to be beside him and support him in that journey at the end of life, that's huge. Yay, and Cindy, I brought my team from dysfunction to function. That's awesome. Getting closer to, you know, using all these roles and the resilience tools that we've talked about in the past. It's great. Michelle, caring for your husband, went through, I think he had surgery, if I'm correct. Yeah. So that's big too. That's, don't want to generalize, but sometimes men and having issues is hard. Not even married, and I know that, right? My kids and my husband and kids like me still. Perfect. I love it. So through all these random, not random, but all these different roles that we play, it's hard to kind of find yourself in the middle of all that, right? You got to give and give and give. And sometimes you're like, huh, where did I go? Something I've realized kind of going through that, that I've been here kind of the whole time. Didn't always see myself though. I'm no longer being the silent one. I'm no longer, you know, keeping myself in a corner and trying to figure out what I am and who I am and discovering that role that I want to give myself. The role that will serve me, that will serve everyone else, and transform that into that moving forward. So think about your inner circle. What roles do you have in your family and in your inner circle of friends? Go ahead and put those in the chat. Some ideas for you. Are you a peacekeeper? Are you the leader? Are you the follower? Are you the leader and then you turn around and there's no one following you? What kind of roles do you have? Are you the person that everyone goes to get the job done? I'll go there, she'll get it done. I don't have to worry about that. I say one thing and she does 10 more on top of it. Are you that person? Yeah, we got some leaders in the crew. All of that takes some time and some effort too, right? It takes a lot of time and effort to be that person. Oh, the mediator, I like that one. Peacekeeper, yep, go-to person, the facilitator. Yeah, we all have those other roles as well, right? There's more, more like interpersonal type roles. So we get lost in that. And sometimes when we get lost, how do we feel? How do you feel in those many roles that you play? Go ahead and put that in the chat. How are you feeling? Are you excited to have all these roles? Are you drained? Are you exhausted? Are you stressed out? Are you overwhelmed? That's a huge one. Maybe feeling a little inadequate with things. If you're feeling great about it, I want to hear that too. So tell me how you're feeling. Deflated, nothing left. Yeah, that's a big one. Oh, well, I like that you like being challenged most of the time. I like that. That's good too. It's good to have the challenge. It's just bad when it swings too far to the one way and turns into overwhelm. So yes, I like this. That's good. So that brings me right into the next question for you guys. As a caregiver, what are your top 3 struggles or burdens or challenges or stressors? So what are those for you? And on top of that, maybe how have you lost yourself in that caregiver role? That might be one of those stressors for you. What does that look like? Go ahead and put that in the chat for us. When your challenge turns into too much, what does that look like for you? Not enough time. That's my top one too there. Unproductive, getting tired yourself. Yeah, not feeling adequate. Too much to juggle. You're just constantly, something's gonna drop, right? I'm not very good at juggling myself. Pulled in all those different directions, especially those with kids that are in many, many different things. That is huge. Jen, our new nurse, having 7 patients That's a lot. We unfortunately are so short-staffed that recently we've had 8 patients on nights continuously, and the joy of 8 patients on day shifts when no one can make it to work in a blizzard. They struggled through. We made it through. We got it done. Not to say that it's not difficult. It is very overwhelming as a somewhat seasoned nurse. I cannot imagine being a new nurse. So kudos to you. Keep doing it. You're doing great. And you will get through it all. Make sure you're leaning on your team. That goes for everyone too, not just those in at the bedside nurse. Lean on into your team, right? Who's in your team? Think about everyone around you that you can ask for help. I know that's hard. We're going to talk about that in a minute here, but think about that. Who's on your team that you can potentially reach out to? So we said of the givers, right? That we constantly give and give and give and give and give, and then we feel all these things. And then they're just like, there's just not enough time for anything in life, right? Where happens all the good stuff that I wanted to do? And when we get to that point, we're not helping anyone around us, right? When we're stressed into that point of burnout, we need to be able to fill ourselves up and fill our cup up. That lovely saying that you can't pour from an empty pitcher. It's true, right? You can dump that thing as much as you want, but nothing's coming out. So what do we need to do? We have to focus on ourselves and putting stuff into the pitcher that will help us help other people. So when your pitcher is full, then you can actually pour something out and help somebody else. Like we'll give you the overflow of what's left over. So the big question for everyone, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to change all that? How much do you want to get rid of the overwhelm and the frustration? So put a number in the chat for us of where you want to be. Oh, I see some 10s. 10's coming through. So if you want to change, we need to ask ourselves, what roles do we want to still have, and are they serving and helping us? So through my journey, I've kind of learned that role of not striving for perfection. As I said, I am a recovering perfectionist. That people pleasing, putting others' needs before me, that feels selfish. It really does. It feels a little guilty. And at first I kind of was with you there, but I'm realizing as the more I progress through that I really cannot help anyone when I'm in that overwhelmed, exhausted, stressed out state. When my head is doing this and I'm going in all those directions, I'm no help to anyone. I really just need to take that time for me to refuel, to get into those healthy lifestyle habits, and then I can actually help someone around me, be that caregiver that I really want to be, instead of just kind of half-heartedly going through the motions. I don't know if you guys saw a post recently I did about me hanging the curtain upside down. Didn't notice it for about a month or longer, I don't even know. It's upside down, it's a little wrinkly, it's close enough. That's the one lesson I'm learning. I'm okay with close enough. Sometimes things are upside down, some things aren't 100%. It's exactly how it's actually supposed to be, and maybe it works out a little better that way. It all turns into dealing with perspective with that. So repainted all my walls. They look really good in dim light. If you shine a bright light on those things, you can see all the imperfections. So close enough for me there. But yes, precision in some areas in your life. Healthcare, certain things, you need precision. That does not mean you need perfection though. Precision, we need to be accurate, we need to be exact with things, because where does the pressure and the added stress come in? It's when we strive to get to perfection. The mold issues in my house, I definitely want precision. I'm not necessarily going for perfection, because we all know that's kind of impossible, even though we all strive for that as well. Learning to be that B student has been hard for me. I strived really, really hard going through school, college, even I worked and worked to get A+ in like every class. And that was self-induced pressure. That was me putting that on myself. No one really around me was doing that. So that's something you have to learn too, that striving toward that extra 20% to get the 100% or plus, that's usually where the stress and the overwhelm and the anxiety come from. It's not always worth it either. So I'm the high achiever. We just got to reframe it a little bit. I'm a high achiever. I work hard to get what I need. done. I work for certain things. I want them. I will work hard to get to that point. But I don't have to be a perfectionist with this anymore. I'm okay with just close enough. As I said, precision in some areas, but close enough, right? So what do you want your roles to look like moving forward, right? What does that look like for you? Think about that. We want to listen to ourselves. We want to listen to our bodies. We want to show ourselves how we can be compassionate and maybe show some grace. Learn to celebrate who we really are and the job that we're doing every day in those roles. So define ourselves moving forward, and the journey. And the journey of life is to kind of find balance with everything. It's not always about finding the balance as a bad thing or a good thing. So you think of balancing, it's kind of a struggle, it's kind of a burden. So that's why I like the word harmony. It actually makes it so it's more of an ebb and a flow of things, and that things are kind of your choice with things. So ebb and flow, the high tides come in, right? Sometimes they come in and they're rushing in at you and getting you all splashed up if you're standing on the bank. It brings things to you though, right, with that. And then the low tide goes out, and sometimes that reveals things that were maybe hidden in the past too. But you kind of need that back and forth flow, right? It needs to go both ways, kind of a give and take with things. Let me go back. All right, so today's the day we're going to make the first change, right? We're going to realize what our priorities are, and we're going to schedule time for them in pen, not erasable pen that I use. That's key. So we're going to put yourself first. We're going to refuel. We're going to recharge. We're going to fill up your pitcher, and then you can tackle all your responsibilities in life and move forward, having kind of a plan with things. So setting boundaries, that's our next little section here. Saying yes to yourself is a good thing. It's still a struggle at times. I want to still people please. It's still in there sometimes. Realizing though that was not beneficial, and kind of not beneficial to the person I'm trying to people please too, right? Think about that. If we're constantly doing things for everyone else, when do they learn to do it for themselves? Are we really helping them? Think about that. Are you really helping them if you're doing it and they're not learning and they're not growing? We want them to be able to learn and grow too, right? So think about that as we kind of go through this. So some boundaries, we want to set these boundaries. You can have rigid, you can have flexible, you can have permeable. And we all have those rigid boundaries. Those are kind of the non-negotiables in your life. They can be super rigid at times. Sometimes we need those like hard lines, don't cross it. But sometimes those can be limiting as well. So be aware of that when that happens. Just get curious. Flexible boundaries. These should be most of our boundaries. The ebb and the flow, the give and the take. Those permeable boundaries, not really good. Those are the people-pleasing habits. When you sometimes get walked all over because people just walk right in and do whatever they want, and you're like, what just happened? That's been me in the past. So I've been known to kind of get bulldozed over at times. So first we need to decide what your boundaries are. So think about that. What boundaries do you want to set, and where do you want to set them at? What are those non-negotiables? Where can you be more flexible with things too? So kind of think about those, and if you want to put your top ones in the chat there. So what boundaries do you want to set? Where do you want to set them? What parts of your life, in your health, in your finance, in your career? Maybe it's something less large, I guess I should say. Just some time for yourself. Even if it's just food. I'm getting lunch today. I'm going to take my bathroom breaks. For those at the bedside, that's definitely a hard thing sometimes. Maybe it's hard for everyone that's running around and you just don't take that time for lunch. That's definitely something that's a non-negotiable for me. I have specific times that I really do need to eat for my own health, my own benefit. In the past, I would take a sandwich to work because I could eat it on the way home. So I would eat at 5:30 driving to work, and I would eat at 8:30 driving home from work. So That's hard. So I've learned the hard way that that was not beneficial, and I've changed that up. So sometimes it's food, sleep routines. Sometimes it's just that time for you, showing yourself some love, drawing the boundaries that protect your time at home. I like that, home and family time, saying yes to new opportunities. That is, those are all good and great. And then boundaries for your self-care practices too. So time to make sure you have movement, time to have that meditation or the breath, or finding joy in everything, connecting with others as well. Oh, I like that. Bi-weekly massages. That's perfect. Able to get those in and stick to it, right? Make sure you're sticking to these routines that are definitely beneficial for you. I have a habit of sometimes maybe failing to set these boundaries and then holding people accountable when they break them. So when that happens, sometimes we feel misused and treated. We get irritated. We attack the person. Why are you coming at me? Why are you doing this? It's not always about that, though. It's not about us attacking them for who they are. It's about maybe what they were doing, or sometimes it's what they didn't do. I've asked you 5 times, why haven't you done this for me, type of thing. But setting those expectations and not actually letting the person know you have those expectations, that can be bad too. You want to take care of yourself. You want to do things for yourself. But if you don't ask those around you to help you achieve that, they don't know what your expectations are. They don't know how they can help you and keep these boundaries set for your, especially for your self-care practices. So that kind of works into the boundaries for self-compassion, and then moving into self-love. So we are all worthy of love, right? You have to believe that, though. That's what we all want as humans. We want to belong, we want to love, but we have to realize that we are just enough just as we are, that I can show myself love no matter what. That's a hard one, especially sometimes for women and us caregivers. I can show myself some love once I get what done, though? Is there something holding you back from your worthiness? Think about that. What's holding you back from your worthiness? What does that look like for you? Go ahead and put that in the chat as well. What's holding you back? You guys are thinking of yourself. Yep. I'll be worthy. I'll be worthy when I lose weight. I'll be worthy when I get healthy. I'll be worthy when I quit. You guys can fill in the blank, or I accomplish this, or I graduate from this. If I'm able to do it all and just look like I'm not even trying, just so nonchalant, right? Yeah, I like that. I like it, that we're enough just as we are. We are worthy. We are worthy of all this. It's hard sometimes in the moment to remember that, though, especially when you're reaching out to other people to kind of help nourish you and give you what you need to kind of keep yourself going. You're that people pleaser. That's a hard place to be. But having loving belonging requires us to be just us, right? We are who we are in this very moment, whoever that is, the true you. Let's kind of grow and nurture this as well. And it comes from the connection with others when we're actually showing ourselves to be authentic, to be imperfect. Brene Brown, she's another one of my favorites. I do highly recommend her books. We're doing The Gifts of Imperfection, some of her talks on my weekly lives, so you guys can check those out. But she has a quote here: when we practice self-love, this means learning how to trust ourselves, to treat ourselves with respect, and to be kind and affectionate toward others. So think about that. It means we have to start with us, right? That golden rule for treating others as you want to be treated. How about we treat ourselves as we treat others? For some of us, that give too much of ourselves. So put yourselves in your needs first. You have to be open to receiving and giving. If you're not showing it to yourself, how are you really gonna show love genuine love to everyone else around you. You may think that you are, but if you're not 100% kind of giving that love to yourself, how open are you to giving and receiving it back? Kind of have to have that flow both ways with that. So once you set your boundaries, we have to implement some strategies to kind of help you keep those, right? I always remember seeing these videos of everyone locking themselves in the bathroom or in the pantry as they eat a snack. You guys remember those videos that show up all the parents are locked in? They're like, I mean, the kids are like fingers under the door. I use my bathroom time at work as kind of my breather. Take a breath. It's okay. Just take that time. And as I said, sometimes though, when we have all these boundaries set, we need to show ourselves some love, and we need that time for ourselves. But that means we may have to ask for help, as I said earlier. Ooh, who likes to ask for help? Yeah, no. Never been known to really ask for help. Not the hand raising kind of person. Hey, I need help with this. Don't want to stand out. Don't want to feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Don't want people to reject me or make me feel like a failure. So that's a hard one to kind of transition into as well. But realizing that I don't have to do it all. If I want to be successful in my life, I'm going to need some help with this. I need people to help me along the way, support me along the way. So getting success in your life, you might have to ask your partners, those around you, for help. If it's at home, hey, I need help with the dishes. Can you help me fold the laundry? Can you get the kids to bed or off the bus or take the dog out at work? Hey, I'm kind of drowning here. Can you help me pass the meds? Can you help me with the patient? Can you help me with this? That kind of thing. And then obviously we want it to go both ways. If you see someone struggling, ask them what you can do to support them, and be specific about it. You need to have that in place too. It needs to be specific things that you're asking for help with, because then guess what? If we don't set up the boundaries and the expectations and let them know about it, then it falls on us and we get mad and irritated because they couldn't read our minds. I'm a mind reader. Did you guys know that? Yeah. Why can't you read my mind? And why can I not read your mind? Yeah. So finding time for yourself and not feeling guilty about it, that is kind of one of the hardest parts of all of this. It takes a lot of reframing. It takes a lot of kind of going through the motions of working through that, and not realizing that when we're not doing what everyone else is doing, that we're still safe. That's a hard thing to not kind of get sucked into with that. Because if I'm not doing what everyone else is doing, and I don't know, I take time on a crazy day off that I finally have time to just breathe, and I'm sitting on the couch doing nothing, what are people going to think about me? Oh, this is selfish. Look at me laying around on the couch. I'm not doing any of those jobs I should be doing. Then I'm not going to feel like I belong, and then I shame myself into doing more and more and more, and then my body's like, nope, crash and burn, and you have to take a whole week off because now you're sick. So think about that when you're pushing through. If I can take time right now to refuel and kind of get myself back to that point of being closer to 100% and able to give my all, then I'm better off for that and able to actually help people. So we kind of start asking ourselves with all this, am I overcommitting? So what does your calendar look like? Think about that. Are you like me that's got a work home calendar that's got 5 different shades of pen and highlighters? And yeah, I'm an overcommitter. I'm an overachiever at times. So learning to cut back, learning to come back to like, what can I really get done? But in all that, is there actual time planned for you? What does that look like on your to-do list? I like having all my ducks in a row. I love that analogy because the duck's sitting on the water, chill as can be, right? What's that duck doing under the water? Ooh, so this is me, right? I'm cool, I'm chill, and under the water, I'm just paddling away to keep myself moving. I did mention in one of my posts too, and we're going to do it in a couple weeks. For those of you who are in my Heal Thyself group or the Nurses RX group, I'll put the post or the link in later on. I'm doing lessons from Encanto. I can always say it wrong. The Disney movie. I absolutely love this movie. Watch it. It has great parallels to kind of what I take on with my coaching, and how there's Bruno, talk about Bruno, who gives us insights, and the elephant in the room, and about perfection and the burdens that we put on ourselves. And then in the end, they find that they had it inside of themselves the whole time. So it's a great, great movie. I love it. Watch it. Anyway, add that to your self-care, self-love practices. Watch a Disney movie. I know it's a cartoon, but I love them. All right, so let's look at your calendars. Is there something you can take off your calendar next week? Think about what's in the week ahead. What does that look like? Is there one thing you maybe said yes to that you, I don't really want to do that. Why did I say yes to that? Now I feel obligated. And now you feel dread and all that stuff that goes with it. Or maybe there was something you're like, I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. And you're like, kind of really want to do that. I think that would be beneficial, be restorative for me to be able to do that. So think about that. So if you want to type anything into the chat where you're like, yes, this is what I'm taking off of my calendar. So then we can all keep each other accountable for that, right? So when you think about that, when you're saying yes to yourself, you have to sometimes say no to other things. It's setting up that boundary. We're used to giving and giving and giving. So sometimes that's hard to set up those boundaries and to realize that we're okay to say no to people, because that means I'm saying yes to myself. Sometimes we have to elevate ourselves above, and when we do that, we sometimes separate ourselves from other people. And that's okay. When some people zig, we should zag, right? That's the only way we're going to get to where we want to be, is to make sure we're doing what's best for ourselves, and not necessarily everyone, pleasing everyone around us. So we're going to go on to always be celebrating. So the whole point of today is to celebrate everyone, right? This concept comes from Preston Smiles, and he's one of my other go-to people. Being grateful and finding joy in everything, with small, ordinary things. So, all your needs are met. Even those small things. We have food, we have shelter. Be grateful for whatever those small things are. The small things where people actually take initiative and help you through stuff in your life. Oh, excuse me, sorry. When you focus on the positive, you're going to attract positive. Well, the opposite's true too. When you're focusing on all of the negative things, that's what you're going to attract. So start out with those positive intentions, and impromptu celebration throughout the day, right? Find something in your life that you can celebrate, that brings you joy. Have that day of self-care, a day to recover what's going on for me today that I can, and going well for me today that I can actually celebrate. So with that, I think we maybe need to celebrate a little bit, right? Get ourselves moving just a little bit.
Sing it out, Ian.
I don't think you want me to sing. All right, well, now that song's stuck in our head. All right, so sometimes you just need a dance party in the middle of a Zoom meeting. Why not? So take that time to celebrate, take that time to have fun, be that inner child, finding joy in the simple things of just a fun song that comes on, and you can just kind of been known to dance in the middle of a patient's room to the safe. What are they? I can't even think of the commercial now. Oh my gosh, I forgot it. But one of the songs was super catchy, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just dancing." The patient's like, "Are you dancing?" I was like, "Yep, I am." So they got a laugh out of me dancing, I guess. So that's where we need to figure out the next question for you guys. What does joy feel like and look like for you? Put that in the chat for me. What does joy look like? Or who does it look like? What brings you joy? What can you celebrate today that you're like, yeah, this is fun, this is joyful, this is kind of where I want to be. Being in nature, I love that. Maybe not today with 2 feet of snow, but yes, I guess I could go out and make a snowman. Who wants to build a snowman? A smile. Yes, I love that. Snowshoes. Yeah, I guess I could invest in some snowshoes. Well, hopefully I won't have to use them very much. Yes, your puppies, your fur babies, some pet therapy with that. So we know we can't always be celebrating. There is some things in life that may necessarily bring the joy as we would like it. But as we said, joy of the family members, your pets that greet you at the door, getting up and having nothing planned for the day, that brings me joy. Doesn't really happen, but some days, maybe someday that'll be like that. And the last year has been very stressful for all of us. So whatever brings you joy. So some ways to find joy. You want to stay in the moment. You want to indulge your senses. When you're eating, like, yeah, the smell of fresh bread baking, even though I can't eat it, that still brings back some great memories. That favorite food that you have, think about that. Maybe a change in your routine that, yeah, I can get up and just dance. You want to become the main character in your life. Be that person that's showing yourself that self-love. Take the time for some mindful activities. Be silly and unleash that inner child like we kind of just did. Experience the outdoors, nature, yes. Conquer a fear. Start some conversations. Accomplish that small task, that thing on your to-do list that you maybe haven't gotten to. Yes, I got that. Check that off, right? Release some emotions. Limit your screen time. You know, be surprised how much you looking and scrolling through stuff on social media that isn't necessarily positive can actually bring you way down with that. Remind yourself of your why, your purpose, and then learn to let it go. I should have had that song on cue. We could have danced to that one too, but now it's that, let it go. It'll be stuck in your head. So find joy in the ordinary things in my life. I love sunsets and sunrises, those wispy Bob Ross clouds. You guys know the ones I'm talking about, right? Happy little trees, that kind of stuff with Bob Ross. The moon, everyone knows I love the full moon. We just went through a full moon. We'll leave that with that. So those in healthcare, yes, full moons. I love them. My own transformation, my connection with family, connection with everyone here today does definitely bring me joy. Learning to grow and transform through whatever life brings with you. Not putting all those pressures on myself. That has helped me build some resilience. That plot twist of COVID, the plot twist of molds, you know, been able to enjoy the journey that this is all taking me through, you know, enjoying the process and the journey. Talked about the ducks in a row. I'm enjoying sitting on whatever duck I'm on right now, and maybe they're gonna swim over this way and not where I thought it was gonna go, but that's okay. That actually is part of the fun of it all. And ironically, how it was opposite of where I was trying to keep everything just in line for so long. I mean, this wasn't really working for me with that. So I have to start my day every day with these positive intentions and setting these daily intentions in my life. So start with, today's going to be a great day, right? I have all the time in the world to do what's important to me. That has been a huge one for me. If you guys want to write that one down, that's a writer downer. I have all the time in the world to do what's important to me. That's huge. So focusing on what's right in front of me, what's important to me, and then finding the simplest way to actually do that. Doing the best I can with what I have. That's another good one for me as well. So I have brain fog. I have to write things down. You can see I've got sticky notes everywhere. That's part of my lovely issues that I'm still trying to work through. But I have a list, and I have that to-do list. And then I have to ask myself every morning when I get up, what's most important for me on this list that I need to do today? And then I do that. And then I move on to the next thing. Something I learned through this process, multitasking. Don't tell this to all those caregivers that juggle. Don't tell it to a nurse with their 6, 7, 8 patients, right? yeah, you can't multitask. It does not actually happen. When you move from task to task, you actually lose 20% of productivity on each task. Just think about that. Yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this, and now I'm doing two things. Yeah, focus on what's right in front of you. Do that one thing, and then move on to whatever's next. What's great about that is at the end of the day, I can say to myself, I was able to do what was most important to me today. I can reflect on that and be okay with what I did get done, and maybe what I didn't get done. The list will still be there. Tomorrow I can get up and go, okay, body, tell me what I need to do today. What's most important on my list today? And then I can celebrate throughout the day that I was able to do that, that I was able to kind of get through whatever I needed to for that day. So thinking about moving into 2022, we're making 2022 about celebrating you. So what outcome would you like for this year? So go ahead and put that in the chat if you want to share. What outcome would you like in 2022? So we're going to set some desires and we're going to work to kind of have it come into fruition for us. All right, you guys thinking of some stuff? Calm mind, I like that. As you guys are thinking about what you want, you kind of come up with that. Also think about what is important to you about getting that outcome. You got better sleep, not feeling guilty all the time that you're not doing enough for others. Some caregiver work-life balance. Yeah, finding that harmony in your life. So what's important to you about these outcomes? About not feeling guilty. Getting your sleep. Oh, I'm clicking all the wrong buttons over here, sorry. So what's important to you about that outcome? Yeah, having more energy to take on the day. If you can get to your sleep, yeah. Reduces some overwhelm. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to you to achieve these outcomes? To get that balance, to get some better sleep, not feel guilty about all that. How important is that? Yeah, 10, better emotional health, yeah. When you think about maybe what's holding you back from getting this right now, what is that? What's the one thing or what things in your life that are holding you back from getting these results? Go ahead and put that in the chat. Or make sure you're at least filling in your workbook. Fear of change. Yeah. Critter mind. Yep. You guys are right on track with my next little part, right? The critter minds. So we make those changes, we trigger all those fears, right? Our self-sabotage comes in. It goes danger, danger, danger. So we step out of that familiar zone and our critter brain goes crazy. Notice I didn't say your comfort zone, it's the familiar zone. We've learned throughout the years and developed our critter brain that keeps us safe and alive. So when that bear is chasing us, it says run. But now our body doesn't know the difference between a little stress of a random text that comes through versus the bear chasing us, right? So it kept us alive all these years. Yay, I love you for that. But me making a small habit change to a healthy one does not mean I'm going to die because there's no bear actually chasing me. So our brain doesn't know the difference though. So that's what makes it so hard to make any little change because our brain is just trying to keep us safe. goes back to human nature, where we want to belong, we want to be safe, we want to be validated, we want all of that. So we have to be open to kind of whatever comes. And we have to have that self-love that comes from within. So we really love others when we don't love ourselves. Think about that. I just kind of find it interesting as we're going through all this. Maybe a newer concept for a lot of us as caregivers. No one really brought up yourself kind of in some of this. None of us think that way, do we? I kind of a thing that came to me the other night, different concept. How would I be a caregiver to myself? So add that to your caregiver role. I'm a caregiver of myself. So sometimes we have to think of ourselves in that third person, disassociate it a little bit and be like, okay, if I was able to step out of myself and be the caregiver to myself, what would that actually look like? There's a couple thought questions for you guys. So taking the time for yourself each day, get up and set those intentions for what's going to be beneficial for you and all those around you that you're able to take care of. So another big question for you guys, are you ready to work toward being able to celebrate you every day and step forward into 2022? So think about that. Are you ready? Are you ready for this change? Whatever that looks like for you. Give us some yeses in the chat, thumbs up. So with that, what 3 things can you do today to move toward your desired outcomes and goals? So look back in that goal and outcome that you want. Guilt-free time, some work-life balance, whatever that goal was that you came up with. What are 3 things you can do today? Think about that as we went through everything in the last hour. What 3 things can you do? If you want to put them in the chat or put 1 or 2 in the chat, see what steps we can do. Focus on breathing. It's a huge one. The power of the breath. It slows down that stress response, gets your parasympathetic nervous system in gear. It can really take you from 0 to 100 back to, when you go from 0 to 100 back to 0. Leave work at work. Maintain that daily meditation routine. Yeah, set that as one of your non-negotiables. Make it a habit that you want to stick to. Love that. I love all these steps. And make sure you're being kind of specific when we set out these action steps for, we want them to be smart. We want to be specific. We want to be measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. I had to stop and think how you spell smart there for a second. Gotta love it. Brain fog. So looking at all that, all the stuff you want to have happen, what may be keeping you from accomplishing them? What's keeping you from doing that? So go to bed early. I like that. Schedule time better. So that's maybe something that's keeping you from getting there, right? Maybe you need to schedule it and stick to the schedule. All right, so with that, what may be keeping you from accomplishing things? Who can you ask to keep you accountable? Who's that person that you want to ask to keep you accountable for keeping up with these action steps? Is someone in your immediate family, someone that can keep you accountable online via text, emails? I'm always available. Just give me a shout out. I will gladly keep you accountable. Be your accountability buddy. All right. Oh, there we go. So just want to know if anyone is ready to continue the journey with me. So I'm offering my 4 weeks to step into you group program in February. So this is where we're going to receive some clarity. You're going to be able to step into your true self. So the 4 weeks step into you program, for those of you that are interested, it is 4 weekly group coaching sessions. They're only 60 minutes. So when you think about it, we all have 4 hours that we can spend on ourselves, right? In a month, an hour a week. I will be available by email. You will get weekly client action guides, and then there's a private Facebook group where we can all support each other through that. With this program, it's the STEP program. So we simplify and stretch, we transform, we enjoy and elevate, and then we plan and practice you and all of that. So transforming into you. So with that, we will focus on what's right in front of you. We're going to set some boundaries. We're going to go in depth with that, setting those non-negotiables, defining those, figuring out what our top priorities are so we can move towards that harmony. Want to honor, cheer, and nourish you as well. Transform your self-care practices and learn to relax by imagining how that will feel. Lots of fun, to be honest. We're going to declare, own, and enjoy your roles. Figure out what you want moving forward. And we're going to discover what your heart's desire is so you can spend the rest of 2022 moving into that part of you that you want to be. So this is group coaching. I do need a minimum of 4 participants to do it in a group. If not, it will
Hopefully she's coming back in to finish.
Technology is great when it works.
okay. Sorry. I love my internet. Ah!
No problemo.
I was like, oh no. All right, let me share my screen again. I'm like babbling away and I look and I'm like, there's no one there. Okay, well, we'll see how that turns out with things going forward. Oh, well, I gotta love technology. Oop. All right, let me finish. We're almost done here. Thank you for everyone that's sticking through this with me. I guess maybe that proves I need to upgrade some stuff. So, okay, my program, my Step Into You 4-week program. So as I said, I'm excited to have a birthday celebration month savings of $500 for you. If you do want to invest, I do have an early bird investment for those that invest between January 18th to 22nd. The next few days, you will save an additional $100 with that. And then if you invest, if you refer a friend and that friend actually joins the 4-week program, you'll get an additional $50 savings for that. So I do want to put in, if you are interested, the link to the Discover You session. You can go ahead on there and actually see the calendar, schedule a time that works for you, that works for my calendar as well. If you would like to just message me directly, or if you reply to any of the emails that you will be getting in the next couple of days, we can find a time to discuss things and talk. So you will have this replay coming out to you, hopefully tonight, depending on technology. It might be tomorrow. For those of you who are not already in one of my groups that would like support moving forward with things, I'll put the links in here for you. So the Healthy Self group, Heal Thyself, I should say, group is open to the public for anyone. And then the Nurses Stress RX is just focused more for nurses. I do have my weekly lives, 9 a.m. Eastern on Sundays for You Day, where we go live with topics that kind of work through what looks like moving forward for you and what you would like in your life, and to help you transform and see what comes up for you. This week we are doing 10 ways to simplify your life, and then in 2 weeks we are doing the Encanto lesson. So if anyone wants to join that, I can support you there as well. I do have a couple minutes if you want to ask any questions or open it up to anyone if they have any thoughts, questions. Just let me know. Here, you can unmute and talk, or if you just want to type it in the chat as well here.
That was a great presentation, Anne.
Hi.
It got
Oh,
me
thank you.
thinking.
Thank you. That's the point, I guess. So make sure everyone's kind of thinking through things. It's about getting curious. Don't get judgmental with yourself. Just get curious about what all this means, for you moving forward, with things.
So I spent 2021 working with Anne, and this isn't so much a plug for Anne, but the realization that I've made a lot of changes, and I have this sense of it's okay to be me, and I'm not necessarily signing up for all the extracurricular things, and my family's okay with it. It's like they never had the expectations that I placed on myself. So I just want to again say thank you, Anne, for being instrumental in bringing up things I hadn't thought about in my 66 years of living that helped me look at me differently.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a plug for Anne, but
I appreciate it.
I had no idea that was you.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, who is that? Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. And it is true. I'm trying to just get people to see the journey that I've been on and my own personal changes and how much it's really, really helped me. That's kind of the whole point of this. Like if you want me to work with you, I will gladly work with you. I'm here. I will keep doing more workshops. I'm going to have more stuff coming out. There'll be something every month. It's just to support people in their journey. This is a hard time to kind of be going through, to be honest. This is very difficult. All the stressors that we had that were like, okay, they were like magnified in the last couple of years. And the way social media is, it's all out there. So it's definitely hard with that. So I appreciate that.
Well, one of the things that you guys might want to consider is Anne asked me early on, what is all of this costing me? And it never dawned on me that, and I know all about, there's a cost, there's a benefit, but I was holding on to different roles that were really harming me, not giving me a sense of feeling loved and that kind of thing. And boy, that whole idea that what is this costing me kind of carried through 9 months of 2021. A lot of people say, oh, I hated 2021. It was worse than 2020, but it was kind of the best year of my adult. And it was because of my sessions with Anne. I looked forward to them every week. And my husband and my 2 kids started to realize, oh my word, this is working. Our whole harmony in the home. And when I said earlier, my husband and my kids still like me, I think it's pretty good after 41 years of marriage and 30-some-year-old kids. So
right.
But I don't want to monopolize, so I'm putting myself on mute.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. And it's true. It's when you can change the way you're processing things and reframe things and get those resilience tools in place, all the crazy plot twists that come along are just like, okay, I got this. We got this. We can work through it. Yeah. All right. Just want to open it up if anyone else has any thoughts or questions or anything.
I just want to say you have a great story. And that's, so if any of my nursing friends, I will certainly refer on to you. Most of the dental hygienists my age just quit, so they solved that problem. But you know, but nurses, they're still
We're still plugging in through
Plugging
that.
away.
Yeah. But that it goes in general, just in caregiving in general too. It's like even just in the jobs of service, you know, can kind of apply as well. So yeah. All right. Well, I definitely appreciate it. Thank you all for dealing with my technical issues. So we'll have to see.
great.
I can be on the internet for 4 hours and nothing. And when I need it on, it's like, yeah, I'm tired.
Nice webinar. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
It-
everyone.
It
Okay.
was awesome. And you
Yeah.
know, what I was having a hard time with is not being able to share the joy and the laughter that was happening on my end, because like your examples and the so much fun you were having and all of that was just, yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't hear the music.
Yeah,
But
that's why I wanted you to sing. I wanted
Oh,
you
Yeah.
to
was
sing.
coming through. Sorry. I'm just
That's okay.
dancing by
But-
myself. Okay.
It was the funny part. You were into it all by yourself.
Yeah,
Just-
I miss
Awesome.
that too, Anne.
that's funny. Well, there you go. I'm recovering perfectionist and I'm close enough.
It was great.
It was
Oh,
great.
that's funny.
Bye,
That is funny.
everybody.
Sharing your testimony, that was just awesome too.
Yes.
It
Oh.
was nice to hear all that. It's heartwarming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you guys so much. I do appreciate you guys' support throughout all this. And then moving forward, I'll be tapping you guys on shoulders probably. Hey, you want to join you want to join the next one? All right, I will let everyone get going here. Thank you all so much. I won't play any
Dinner
music because you won't hear it. So
Yeah, no music.
music.
Unless you want to sing.
It was Justin Timberlake. Can't stop the feeling. So
I thought it was celebrate.
well, I had that one on board and then it like,
Oh.
I don't know, maybe my technology it just wasn't working, so.
Yeah,
I'll
well,
have
it
to
was the
play- I'll
same
have to
beat.
put- Yeah, it does have the same beat. Yeah, I'll have to put in the replay to play this music at this time.
Yeah. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Michelle.
Thank you.
Hi, Pam.
See
Bye,
you.
Anne.
Take
Bye.
care.
Thanks.
Good to see you all.
Yes, you too.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Say hi to everyone.
I will. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.